Morocco is a land of contrasts, from the Berber villages clinging precariously to the hillside in the high Atlas Mountains, to the rolling sand dunes of the Sahara Desert, to the souks of the imperial cities of Marrakech, Fez, and Casablanca. Come with me as we explore the country that has provided an intriguing setting for several classic Hollywood movies. Over the centuries, Morocco has been invaded by Phoenicians, Romans, Arabs, and in modern times by Europeans. Yet its fierce Berber heritage resisted unification until the establishment of an independent nation in 1956. Prior to that date, it can best be described as a patchwork of tribal groups. Our trip takes us from Fez, Morocco's oldest city, to Marrakech, its most fascinating. We travel over the Middle Atlas and High Atlas Mountains, hiking through Berber villages and experiencing the magic of the Sahara Desert at its western portal near Erfoud. Made up largely of Berbers and Arabs, this Muslim nation has always been a welcome haven for Jews and other minority groups, who have prospered here for more than 1,000 years.
The modern history of Morocco is also important in terms of formulating the society, because, as you know, Morocco have been under the protectorate of the French protectorate, and the Spanish in the north. So all these events participate to generate a society which is diverse in its ethnicity, and as you know, formed by first Berbers. The Berbers are the Amazigh people, the original people, the African, you can say. Then the Arab people, people coming from, in fact, from the Middle East during many centuries of the history. Then Jews, which live, in fact, in Morocco during many centuries and still live in many towns of Morocco. And other ethnic groups, such as black people because, you know, Morocco have many links with the south.
The Romans came to Morocco in 146 BC, settling in the fertile valley of Volubilis, just north of modern-day Meknes. They established an agricultural center here, building a prosperous but isolated outpost. After centuries of frustration in their inability to control the Berber warriors, the Romans abandoned Volubilis in the beginning of the 4th century, before the Arab armies arrived from the Middle East. The striking site was the key location for Martin Scorsese's film The Last Temptation of Christ. It was inhabited until the 18th century, when a massive earthquake leveled it.
The excavation started exactly here in 1915 by French archaeologists, and most of monuments it was discovered here, like statues, jewelry, Roman money, are exposed now in Archaeological Museum in Rabat. And we have here in Morocco about 5 Roman cities, especially in Mediterranean and Atlantic land coast. But the Roman, they came here because it's a strategic location, wonderful position.
This 3rd century olive press is all that remains of a huge trade in olive oil and wheat to Rome. But agriculture was not the only business in Volubilis. Lions were exported in such large quantities to support the games in Rome that these magnificent beasts, along with bears and elephants, became virtually extinct within 200 years. The holy city of Fez is a jewel of Spanish and Arabic civilization. From its beginning, it was a sanctuary of classical and moral sciences, a tradition that remains until today. With a population of about 1.5 million people, Fez is the oldest city in Morocco. It was founded in 808 by Moulay Idris I, about 100 years after the Arabs brought Islam to Morocco. Our home in Fez was the magnificent Jamai Palace, which was transformed in 1930 into a luxury hotel, renowned for the quality of its cuisine, a mixture of Moroccan and French cooking. The Medina in Fez is the largest in Morocco and is known for its intricate maze-like streets. Medina refers to the Old Quarter, which retains the traditional Arab Islamic architectural style. Nearly 310,000 people live side by side here in this labyrinth of sloping, winding alleyways that are crammed full of stalls, workshops, and donkeys. Weaving fabrics and rugs is an age-old art in the Medina, as is the making of fine leather goods. These young men tan the leather by stomping on it in these vats filled with colored dyes.
So for the maroon color, it is cedar wood. The green, it is mint. And the blue, it is the indigo. The blue color, it is the indigo. So when they are taken color and they are dry, so at that time it is easy to fabricate things that you see behind you, bags, or that is everything from leather, or what is known by Moroccanry, that is the good quality of the leather of Morocco.
When the Arabs arrived in Morocco in the 7th century, they brought a faith and a written language, which provided a basis for the growing identity of the Moroccan people. The Arabs assimilated themselves into the Berber lands, and together they invaded Spain, spreading their Moorish culture until they were driven out by the Catholics in 1492. Moor comes from the Greek word moris, which means people of a mixed race. By the time of the Islamic conquest in 685, the Jewish community in North Africa was one of the most religiously and scholastically active in the world. Despite periodic waves of persecution, They prospered under Islamic protection and their culture thrived. The great centers of Islamic study in Morocco were also great centers of Jewish learning and home to many famous rabbis. Throughout World War II, the Jews of Morocco were protected by King Mohammed V, who flatly rejected the demands of the occupying Vichy government to turn over the Jews. Not confined to urban centers, Jews lived and thrived in tiny, remote villages all over Morocco, from isolated mountain settlements in the high Atlas to kasbahs in the oases of the Sahara Desert.
So the Jewish, later on, when they used to live also in the old town, and most of them, they came as political refugees during 13th century mostly. So at that time, they decided to build their own residences here, and they built this Mellah section. Mellah, in Arabic, it comes from salt.
Meknes, one of the kingdom's imperial cities, was founded in the 11th century. In 1672, it was chosen by Moulay Ismail, the tyrant responsible for uniting much of Morocco, as capital of his empire. Influenced by King Louis XIV, he created his own version of Versailles here. This stable, which housed an impressive cavalry of 12,000, was destroyed in 1775 by the same earthquake that leveled Volubilis. Now it's time to leave the cities and explore the Middle Atlas Mountains, with its fertile valleys, donkey trains laden with cedar wood, lush oak and pine forests, and picturesque villages. The Atlas Mountains separate the north, with its strong European and Arabian influence, from the south, land of the Berbers. The Middle Atlas Mountains, starting about 150 miles from Fez, are home to farmers and herders, who share the trails with us as we head south. Ifrane, with its suburban neighborhoods and wide paved streets, looks distinctly out of place when compared to a more traditional Middle Atlas village, with its central souk or marketplace. After a long journey, we are welcomed to the El Adi Hotel and Air Food by local musicians. Following a hearty meal and a night's rest, we will tour the famous Kasbahs of Risani, just outside the city. A Kasbah is a walled town, originally built to house a local chief and his family. Today, the word is used for a walled city of traditional mud and stone construction. Twenty-five percent of the population of Risani lives in these 17th century Kasbahs. The government has recently installed potable water wells to improve health conditions in this water-starved city. Drought is a perpetual problem.
This one is made with the well water, from the well water. Yeah, because well water undrinkable. Some well, you can find some wells are drinkable, and some of them are undrinkable. Yeah, and so the authority makes drinkable water for the village, for the Casablanca.
Arranged marriages are still prevalent in this part of Morocco, and women signal their status, engaged, married, or divorced, through small colored dots painted on their faces.
There are some women who have the tattoo hair. First hair, she is engaged, and second one hair is married. Third one is divorced. Because from this tattoo you can make the distinguish for the women if she is married, or she is engaged, or she is divorced. Because here it's shy to ask women about this. From here we can know.
The settlement of Merzouga is just at the western portal of the Sahara Desert. We will spend the night in these traditional tent dwellings after a sunset camel trek through the desert dunes. Before setting out, it's fun to don the traditional Berber headdress. It seems that no place is too remote for a cell phone call. This magical landscape, only a short drive from the city of Air Food, is the ideal set for filming desert scenes, including those in the movie The English Patient. Climbing to the top of a sand dune is hard work, but coming down is lots of fun.
Cheese!
It gets dark quickly here, and it's quite cold at night. an ideal setting for music and a blazing fire. As we head east back toward the Atlas Mountains, we pass the village of Tinahir, a desert oasis. Nearby is a spectacular Tadra Gorge, with vertical walls reaching more than 900 feet. We were quite surprised to find a rock climber making his way up the sheer vertical cliff. Each view in this part of Morocco is more spectacular than the last, and the Kasbah of Ait Ben Haddou is no exception. This 400-year-old town is home to only a few inhabitants, but it provided a wonderful setting for scenes from the movies Sodom and Gomorrah and Lawrence of Arabia. The snow-covered peak just in front of us is Jebel Toubkal, the highest in North Africa, at 13,650 feet. We are starting out today in Ukamaden, at an elevation of about 8,000 feet. And will hike down to the valley to visit several Berber villages. Uka, as it is known by the local residents, is famous for its ski resort and prehistoric rock carvings of animals, battle scenes, and puzzling symbols. The Atlas Berbers who live in this region are the longest established residents of Morocco, maintaining their feudal government until 1933, when the French obtained the cooperation of the local chiefs. Even today, the role of the state remains largely irrelevant.
Come in here, come in here. Come in here, that's better.
Berber women in the High Atlas go about unveiled and have a much higher profile than their counterparts in the north. But they still perform the heavy chores, while the men retain the important tasks of buying and selling goods. Children all over the world have the same fascination with juggling.
You can find those. You can find those in America. You can? Yeah, you can find them. Really they're really pretty. Yes, I did. I was so. This was very good in my New York apartment.
Tea, poured the Moroccan way, is served with walnuts, honey, and home-baked bread. A wonderful break from the strenuous hiking.
I was going to give it to this friend of mine who was looking after my...
Welcomed into this home with traditional Berber warmth, we were introduced to the new bride-to-be, showing off her wedding dress.
Yeah, she's very beautiful.
Heading back up to our hotel, we will leave the mountains and travel east to Marrakech, one of the most fascinating cities in the world. The city of Marrakech was founded in 1062, with a view to controlling traffic from the nearby Atlas Mountains. With rose-colored buildings and a 1,000-year-old palm grove, Marrakech, the Red City, casts a magic spell to all who come to visit. The souk of Marrakech is a labyrinth of winding alleys that is easy to enter and almost impossibly hard to exit. Here is the very core of Morocco's traditional trades: leatherwork, dyeing, saddle making, embroidery, tailoring, pottery, tile work, and metalwork. Dejima El Fina, Marrakech's pulsating main square and one of the world's great theaters, is a spectacular pageant of singers, water sellers, sorcerers, herbalists, imposters, preachers, and snake charmers, all competing for your eye. The water seller was once a needed profession in this arid land. Today, they are part of the entertainment in this lively city. There is also a modern Marrakech of luxury hotels, sidewalk cafes, suburban neighborhoods, and wide streets. But it all seems to coexist with the past in a wonderful collage of history, landscapes, peoples, and images.